Welcome to another amazing edition of Sonia on Air. I am your lovely host, Miss Sonia Hudson-Payne, and guess what? I have another great show for you. I'm so excited to talk to today's guest. She is a boss. Okay, we're going to put a capital B and exclamation mark, until you are just screaming. Television producer. I mean, just a cast member of Owns Love and Marriage Huntsville. I am super excited to talk to this queen, and you should be excited too, because every time you have a boss in the room, you better take out your paper and your pen and take notes, because this is going to be a whole lot of teachable moments on how you can be amazing and dynamic too. So without any further ado, because I'm so excited, and I don't want to keep you waiting any longer, I'm going to bring to you Melody S. Holt. Hi, Melody.
Hey, how are you? You look so beautiful.
Oh, you too. You too. You're another queen. You know, I love when women do that. I love when you see another woman, you automatically give her a compliment, because you never know how her day was. So thank you for making me smile.
Oh, absolutely. I'm big on that also. So absolutely. Yes. So thank you so much for having me as your guest today. You know, when you reached out, or your team reached out, I was like, you know what? I did a little bit of research. You know, I have to do a little Googling, research all of that. And I was like, you know what? I am going to go be on her show. She seems very sweet and about her business. So thank you so much for.
I appreciate it. And yes, you read it right. I am about my business, because I have a 25-year-old daughter who watches everything that I do and listens to everything that I say. So I have to make sure that I'm giving her the proper example.
Absolutely.
So let's just get right into this conversation. You know, we are ending this whole quarantine and trying to get back to a new normal. So you have 4 children. You are an entrepreneur. Okay, you are a wife. How are you returning to a new normal after this whole quarantine?
You know, first off, the 4 children, like you said, I tell people all the time, I got a whole tribe, okay? It's a bunch of us. But for me, bigger than anything, I will say returning back to normal after the quarantine is starting to feel comfortable enough to allow the children to go to different places and have fun and enjoy. I think for everyone, whenever this thing first happened and the pandemic first started occurring, we were all just in the house, door shut, nobody in, nobody's going out. Like, that's what it was. That became our new normal for a while. And we actually put our children out of school before school was like no longer in session. We could tell, like, no, this is something serious. You have to learn not to allow the government to make decisions for you, but you kind of use some common sense and your own judgment. So for us, we put our kids out before they said no more school. So we kind of quarantined a little bit longer, but it's definitely been great. Feeling comfortable enough to get out a little bit and try to get a little bit of normalcy back for us, for, you know, the kids, for, you know, just a little bit of normalcy. I still ain't about to be going to no big parties or anything like that, but a little bit of normalcy.
I know there's a high level of anxiety, and I'm just like you. Before we went into full-fledged quarantine, I had traveled to Vegas, and this was in February, and I already had my mask on. I didn't want people seated next to me, because I knew that this was going to be an issue. So I'm glad that, just like you, I kind of had the foresight to kind of figure this thing out before the government came and told me what I had to do in order to protect my life.
Absolutely. And, you know, real why I haven't had any family members sick at all. I have close business people who have lost their mom, lost a best friend, have had aunts and uncles sick. So even though it hasn't hit my doorstep yet, it has hit the doorsteps of some people that I care about and that I love. And that has been enough to remind me that this thing is real.
It's real.
Yeah.
And some people don't want to believe that it's real. You know, I was personally affected by COVID-19. My mother, she's been hospitalized since March 22nd, and she's still in a coma, unresponsive. Yeah. So when I finished the conversation, I have to head over to the hospital. I was able to see her for the first time yesterday. So that was a good
yeah, I am so sorry to hear that. I will definitely be praying for her, praying for you guys. My goodness.
Thank you. Yes, it's a lot, so I'm glad that we're able to speak about this because, like I said, there are still people out there who don't believe, who aren't practicing social distancing, who aren't wearing masks because they think that the media is sensationalizing this. No, it's real, people. Very real. So let's just talk about, what you were doing in quarantine, because I know I started becoming the best chef, the best dancer.
Yes, look.
What tricks did you pick up during quarantine?
Well, I love cooking. I've always enjoyed cooking. However, whenever you're super busy, a lot of times you don't get to do, cook as much. Regularly, generally, I still would cook probably once, twice a week anyway. But girl, when the quarantine happened, I was cooking breakfast, lunch, dinner. I was doing dressing. It looking like it's Thanksgiving. I was making cornbread dressing, turkey, greens, and everything else, like just having a ball, really, just having fun, getting in the kitchen and having time to do those things. We did a lot of things with the kids, playing match and different little kid card games with them. And then, of course, we got on TikTok and we started doing TikToks.
Me too.
TikTok. So, just finding ways. I feel like overall it really gave us all an opportunity to put the busyness of our everyday lives aside and get back to some of the focus, which is family, your children, those simple things that are so precious and can make life so enjoyable, right? So for us, what we were doing, spending a lot of time calling, checking on loved ones, and enjoying talking and FaceTiming them. So it was definitely much needed. I tell people all the time too, it's the one time that I feel that the earth was stopped, right? And it was kind of like, okay, what are you going to do? Because this probably will never, ever happen again in your lifetime where almost the whole world almost just stops. And so for me, I rested a lot too. When things are normal, I'm sure like you, I'm always busy. I'm always on the go. Got to go here, got to go there. And I took an opportunity to sit back, rest, evaluate, meditate. I grew up playing the keyboard and piano. I got back to playing my keyboard. It was just a time to self-reflect as well. So, despite the unfortunates that came with it, it also was a blessing for me in disguise.
It was a blessing. And, even though I'm going through something personal, it really made me learn a lot about myself because the world stops. I even noticed that the grass became greener outside. The water is a lot bluer. God was working. God was working when he set us down. So I'm thankful for that. But your body looks amazing. So, it looks like you didn't gain any weight during the quarantine. Were you exercising or something?
Yes, I do. So I tell people all the time, I have my certain exercise regimens that I do and routines that I have in place simply because I did have a trainer, Miss Deborah McCrary. She trained me for like 3 years. So I had a personal trainer for about 3 years. And of course, after all of that time, girl, I know everything to do, what not to do, how to do it. So, having time to implement those things as well, that was also wonderful. And so, it was definitely a matter of, since you're not getting out, still making sure that your heart rate is, being worked on. You're still increasing heart rate. You're still doing some things for your physical body, as well as while I was working on those internal pieces also.
Okay. Well, you just gave me, some advice, make sure that my heart rate is up and, not eating out so much because, you're a mother of 4. And I'm sure there are other women like, okay, how does she do it? So I'm glad that you shared, your secret.
It's real. One thing about me is I don't sit back and think, I rarely sit back and think, how do I do the things that I do? I just do it. And because of that, it's just become a part of me. Like earlier, you and I were on the phone. I was like, girl, yeah, I got the 4 kids. So, I've gotten hair bumped, makeup done, boom, because I got an interview today. I had a class I taught Monday night. Where are my kids? They're upstairs. Right? So they're fed, they're clothed, they're bathed, they've eaten, they're waiting. Hey, they know mommy has an interview right now. When we're done, we're going to go outside and play a little bit,
Right.
it's just one of those. And in the middle of that, I'm taking calls from the students who are in my preservation academy that I'm helping to create their businesses and get business credit and do all of these things. So I just do it, I just do it and make it work. No excuses, no excuses.
Right. No excuses. But, that was an open and honest answer, because you have so many phenomenal women who are trying to do it all and they don't know how. Mm-hmm. And you just put it in very simplistic form. Just do it. There's a recipe for this. You just got to do it. And there will be mistakes along the way. Trust me on that one.
Absolutely.
But there's no better recipe than just to do it. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. But Melody, you're still young. You're in your 30s, right?
34. Yes, ma'am.
And you've accomplished so many wonderful and amazing things that I'm sure that there are younger girls and even older women who are looking at you like, how did she do it? So I just want to kind of backpedal a little bit, and let's just start around college, right? So what did you major in college?
Oh, wow. So thank you for that. That opens the floodgates right here. Because believe it or not, what I'm doing right now was not anything that I went to school for. I actually got a degree in English education. So I taught school for 3.5 years, middle school English. I taught middle school English for 3.5 years. I absolutely loved my students. I loved teaching. And for me, I will say that I knew that for the level of giving and the level of living that I wanted, that I wouldn't be able to do that based on just the salary. And so that's kind of whenever the branch happened in terms of branching out into entrepreneurship, owning a company, making that company successful. I tell people, I taught starting at 22. And then by 25, I had turned my company into $1 million company. And by 28, a multi-million. So It was one of those things where I was just determined to be successful. And I was determined to to work hard. I was willing to work hard and willing to put in the sacrifice that came along with that. So in my early 20s, I wasn't out here partying and, going out every other day or every weekend. I was investing in myself and my business.
Wow. I like that. I really, really do. So just like you, my major was different from what I'm currently doing. I was a psychology major. And and just kind of stumbled across into education and teaching, because working with mentally ill ex-offenders, that got to be a little bit dangerous. So I went into teaching. But do you think that having a formal degree is really what a person needs in order to be successful?
Well, let me say this. I do believe, so I had this conversation about my children recently. Someone said, are you going to make sure that your children go to college? I said, absolutely. But don't get it twisted, not because they have to per se, because you have a lot of people who are successful who didn't go to college. But I feel like when you get that degree, it shows that you're capable of starting something and you have the tenacity to finish something. And that matters. And that's what makes you separate sometimes when it comes to business. I can start something. It may get a little difficult. It may get a little tough, but I know how to complete something. Right. And so for me, I will always be an advocate. It doesn't have to be a 4-year degree. It can be a trade. It can be a program. Right? It could be an associate degree, but definitely get some higher level education because it kind of starts to mold you in so many areas is what I'll say, from your communication ability. When you're in school, there are certain classes that are mandatory that you have to take, like your English 101s, okay? So teaching you how to communicate, how to write a proper letter, resume, and all of those things. Those are things that I feel that we all, not saying you can't be successful without it.
Right.
I'm saying that for me, I personally feel that it's necessary to show that you can start something, you can complete it, and learn things along the way.
So let's suppose, your children, they grow up and they're about to graduate high school and they go to you and they say, Mom, I don't want to go to college. What will be your conversation then?
My conversation would be what we're having right now. You're going to go and this is why. You're going to go and this is why, baby. You don't have to do a 4-year. You ain't got to go be, a doctor and do 7-8 years, all of that.
Right.
Mommy wants you to finish some type of higher level education. And while you're doing that, tell me what is it that you do want to do, because we can also be working on that as well while you're getting this degree.
Yeah, yeah. I know college for me, it was very informative. It really kind of shaped who I am today, but it was
So many people.
it was confusing for me because you go to classes and then you're worried about fitting into the college atmosphere. I was a first generation college student throughout my entire family. I also come from a community where I didn't see people go to college, so being thrust into the college atmosphere, it was very, very new to me. Was I successful in college? Oh yes. But were there a lot of mistakes? Oh yes. So what college student were you?
Well, for me, so I graduated in May from high school, and I actually started school. I left like a week after I graduated and moved to Huntsville to start school that summer. So I graduated in 3.5 years with a 3.96 GPA. I think I made 1B, and I think it was in psychology, girl. For real, too. So I made like 1B while I was there. But for me, I was just very, again, focused. I managed to be able to pledge the best sorority in the land, Alpha Kappa Alpha, but other than that, I never was really that girl. I worked 3-4 jobs regularly while I was in school. I always had 3 to 4 jobs while I was going full time trying to graduate early. So I never was that person out all the time partying and stuff. I just been like, okay, this is my goal. What does it take to get there? How do I make it happen? Now, boom, let's make it happen.
Well, that speaks to who you are because, like I said, still at the age of 34, you are an entrepreneur running a multi-million-dollar business. So, you telling me of how you were in college, it really, really makes sense. But you weren't that busy where you didn't find love. Is that where you met your current husband?
Yes, it is. We met at Alabama A&M University.
Wow. See, we're very similar, Melody. I also had a college sweetheart. Hence, my daughter's 25, so that was just a full-fledged, love story. I want to go into that a little bit more and just really shift the conversation to, the question that everyone wants to know because we're about to go into the season 2 premiere of Love and Marriage Huntsville, and the question that I'll be tuned in. I'm actually having a viewing party with some of my friends, Melody.
Oh, wait, hold on, y'all gonna be some of y'all zooming.
We're zooming. I ain't definitely people yet. No. But in season 1, we saw the troubles that your marriage went through. And there's been so many questions as we approach season 2. I'm just going to put it out there. Are you still married to your husband, Martell?
We are still married. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you separated?
Gotta watch the show.
I gotta watch the show. It's.
I will say this. This is what I will say. Currently, we are still married. Currently, yes, we are. But I will say that when it comes to marriage, relationship, love, and things like that, you have to understand and recognize how much you're willing to go through and how much you're not willing to go through, and when it's time to just say, okay, that's enough. And a lot of times that's one of the biggest decisions and hardest decisions, to be honest, especially if you have a lot invested with that person. Like us, we have 4 children. We grew up together, literally. Like I was 22 when we got married. So we've literally grown up together.
Wow.
It can be one of the hardest decisions to make, but you also have to make decisions that you feel will bring you happiness and make you a better person. Sometimes you have to be a little selfish sometimes and say, hey, I'm not a walking doormat, and enough is enough. So, y'all stay tuned, girl. The whole season is just going to be mind-blowing.
We'll be tuned, staying tuned. But, there were so many cryptic messages from you on social media. We talked about your TikTok. You did do a TikTok where you pretended that you were Barbie calling Ken, saying that Ken had cheated on a Bratz doll. So we're still that was funny. That was very funny. I lived for that moment. I'm gonna just let you know.
A lot of people was living for that. That was
like, oh, what happened to the reception? Come on, Melody, come back. We're just having some technical technical difficulties with Melody. The camera isn't working on her part, but hopefully she'll be joining us in just a few short moments. As she said, we definitely have to be tuned in for season 2 of Love and Marriage Huntsville so we can find out what's going on with this beautiful couple. I don't like to see the end of Black love. I really don't. But you can love Black love differently. I think so. You can definitely love Black love differently. Melody, you're on a different camera now?
Let me tell you, can you see me? Let me tell you, no, this is so crazy. So I had you on my MacBook, right? And I didn't know it was halfway dead. So it just died on us in the middle of the interview. But I'm back. I'm back. By whatever means necessary. I said, oh, let me get my phone and pull up this link and click back in here.
And just like you said earlier, there'll be mistakes, but you just do it. So I love to see how phenomenal women kind of bounce back. So, we had the technical difficulty. We were talking about your amazing TikTok, which I said I lived for that moment. But, we're talking about Black love, and I love to see Black love, exemplified on television. And it was so huge to see you and your husband on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And when we were disconnected, what I was telling my viewers and my listeners is, Black love is very important, but Black love can mean different things. So I'm glad that you mentioned about loving yourself. To me, that's a form of Black love. You can't have, love for anyone else until you have love for yourself. So I'm glad to hear that you spoke about that. How has it been for your children?
Oh, our children have been great. They're great. So, yeah, I mean, they're our pumpkins,
So they bounce back. Children are very resilient. Children are very, very resilient. So, I'm glad to hear that your children haven't been impacted. But let's just talk about the friendships. We also saw on season 1, your friendship with the Scotts, be kind of tainted in a way. And I'm just going to share a personal story with you, Melody. I know what it's like not to share your personal intimacies with your friends. I did that when I was in my early 20s, fresh out of college with my college sweetheart. And once I started telling them about the mistakes in my relationship, damn it, they became the judge and jury. They wanted to pound the gavel every 5 minutes. They wanted to be upset even if I wasn't. And that was really it added to the shift in the relationship. So where are you now in your friendships with the Scotts?
Well, when it comes to the Scotts, first let me say, I wish them well, in all of their endeavors and anything they're doing, anything they're working on, or, whatever the case may be. I wish them well with all of that. I don't really talk at all really to Marcel and Tisha too much. You guys will see some of that evolve. So you got to watch the show for that. Kimmy, I actually just talked to Kimmy the other day on the phone. So Kimmy and we still communicate here and there, checking on each other and things like that. But it's definitely interesting. And a lot of this will play out this season. Is definitely interesting in terms of seeing us trying to get back to at least some kind of ground where we can be cordial, where we can still, okay with being in the same room together. And that's kind of some of the stuff you guys are going to see happen this season.
And it's called maturity. When you can coexist in the same room with people, and just be cordial. You also add another layer to your friendship with the Scotts. You all went into business together. And I'm a Brooklyn girl, Melody, and I believe in Biggie. And his 7th commandment said, keep your family and business completely separated. So knowing what you know now, would you ever go back into business with friends?
Absolutely.
Really?
I would. The problem is not. Hold on. I'm gonna plug this up. Hold on 1 second. Okay. The problem is not necessarily going into business with friends. The issue. There we go. Perfect. The issue comes in going into business with the right friends and having some type of commonality. Okay. So I'm not that person who will ever say, keep your friends separate from business. Don't mix, business and pleasure, and don't mix. No, if you have a group of friends that are mentally on the same page, who are honest, straight up and straightforward and willing to be all in, lay it out on the table, you can accomplish some great things together. So no, I wouldn't say don't mix that. And we also have people who also know how to separate the business from the friendship. Now, when we talk about that, if we're doing business together and I feel like you being shady to me in that, then yeah, it's gonna affect the friendship too. Because now I'm like, that ain't nothing a real friend gonna do either. You know, so that's kind of where the line gets blurry. But can you be? There are a lot of successful companies who were started by people who became friends first.
Got you. So friends.
Huh?
I said, so it just means doing business with the right friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's just tap into your business acumen just a little bit, because I think this is something that needs to be talked about a lot more. As a woman of color, you have taken the charge to revitalize Huntsville, Alabama. What made you want to do that?
So for us, when we all sat down, it wasn't just me by myself. It was one of those things where we sat down and came together and we noticed a specific area, North Huntsville, that we felt like needed more attention and needed some revitalization, needed new homes, needed new businesses and things like that. And it was kind of one of those things where it was like, hey, what can we do to help change the narrative a little bit when it comes to North Huntsville? How do we make it to where, you know, the whole comeback group thing was, we can come back if you come back. So how do you make it to where the young people in that community, yeah, they may see you riding in your Lamborghini, or yeah, they may see you riding in your Range Rover, but they know that, oh, the reason or how they got this Lamborghini and this Range Rover is, oh, because they own this business right here. Not because they're out here doing illegal things, but, oh, they own this. So it was one of those things of us wanting to show a different way. And so the whole goal was to live in that community. So we actually, Martell and I put our home up for sale. And we did sell. We had a home that we owned in Harvest. We sold that home, bought a home in North Huntsville that we started renovating because that's where we were going to live. We were going to live in the community that we were saying we wanted to bring about change in. Unfortunately, you know, there comes a ticket with everything. And unfortunately, while we were renovating our home, it was broken into multiple times. Wow. And so because we do have 4 children. So because of, for the safety of ourselves and our kids, we were like, okay, we're not going to be able to do this right now. So we ended up, you know, moving somewhere else. Because again, we had sold our prior home. So we ended up moving somewhere else. And, you know, but overall, the main goal and premise behind the comeback group was we can come back if you come back, living in the community that we're saying we want to bring about change in.
I love it. Just giving back to the community. And you're also giving back in another way. And you kind of discussed it a little bit at the beginning of this conversation, but you also facilitate master classes. So tell us more about that and if you have any upcoming master classes.
Yeah, so thank you. I actually, it's so crazy because I would say this was probably a year or two ago. Whenever I actually decided or got the idea that I wanted to teach people how to get into this multi-billion-dollar industry that ultimately made me got me to the point where I was able to do 500K my first year. And then the third year I was up to $1 million, then multi-million by, you know, the 5th year. So I wanted to teach people how to do that. So I thought of it a couple of years ago. And I'm one of those people where, like, even my skincare line, I have a skincare line. Well, I started working on my skincare line 2 years ago. And I'm just now done and like, okay, I'm finished with everything, you know? So I'm one of those things who don't believe in rushing the process. Right. I believe everything happens at a certain time and the way it's supposed to happen, when it's supposed to happen as well. And so I just finally launched Holt Preservation Academy, which is where I have 32 students right now who I am teaching the game of property preservation. And this is the same industry. I know you probably have seen on the show, the company Sculpt. So Sculpt was created because it was Scott and Holt put together. Sculpt was created merely by, you know, hey, let's help a friend. You know, he's out of work right now. What can we do? How about we teach him the game that we're in? Sure, let's do it. So then Sculpt was created. And, you know, we went in, taught Mr. Scott what we do, how we do it, and assisted along the way. And so now I'm doing that same thing that I did way back when Scope got started. And I'm doing it for right now 32 people. Or now they all have their own companies. They all have, you know, their own business checking accounts. They have the resources and access to all of my my documents to make sure they're successful, a lot to my connections. I've had guests on the show the past 2 weeks, so I teach every Monday night. I've had guests on the show who've been in the game. Like last week, we had someone on. He was doing $10 million a year in this industry. So my whole thing is, let me get you in, let me show you how it goes, and let me help you make your money as well.
That's another recipe and a special ingredient of successful people. You don't just take all of your intellect and knowledge and you keep it to yourself. You make sure that you spread the wealth. I love to see that happen. So, thank you for discussing and giving us more information about that. So is it too late for people to join this masterclass?
No, people can still join. Right now I'm full. The next class will be in July. Because like I said, I got 32. So girl, they all have my cell number. I'm their new BFF. So, and at first I had people saying like, why are you giving them your personal cell number? Like, da, da, da. And then the same person who said that heard me having conversations with some of my students. And they were like, you know what? I changed my whole mind frame when it comes to that. He said, they were like, he was saying to hear how these people, are connecting and are so happy that you're taking time out, to really talk to them.
Yeah.
The excitement in their voices when you pick up that phone, it was like, nah, you're doing the right thing. I'm like, yeah, because at the end of the day, people want to know that you're touchable. They want to know like, hey, I'm in this class. I can contact Melody and ask her what I need to ask her. Right. So, you never want to get to a place where it's almost like you can't talk to anybody. I had a conversation with a young lady like 4 weeks ago because she inboxed me and she's going through some stuff in her relationship. And she was like, I just really need somebody to talk to. I don't feel like I can talk to my friends. Kind of the same thing you said, because they're judgmental. They're going to be like, whatever. I gave her my cell number. I said, hey, give me a call. Let's talk a little bit. And I encouraged her a lot. And by the time that conversation was over, I'm sure that I'd given her something to help her feel a little bit better and let her know, make the decision that you feel is best for you.
Right.
So I love being personable with people and just taking time and really talking to people.
I love it. And you don't find that too often. And I know that woman is definitely going to be impacted, as well as your 32 students, because from what you're telling me, it's not even about the money. You genuinely want to see people win.
Absolutely.
And that's important too. That's so, so important. But let's just go back a little bit before we wrap up this conversation.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm excited about the season 2 premiere of Love and Marriage Huntsville. What can we expect from the season?
Woo! I hope y'all in for a whole whirlwind roller coaster and everything else, because it's going to be something serious. When your producers are saying this is better than last season, then you know it's about to be on.
Wow. Well,
so, you guys are going to see a lot. I think you're going to see more business things, of course, happening this season. And then, of course, you're going to see us as we maneuver through those relationship and friendship type issues, too. I think you're going to see more of the children this season. So that's going to be nice. It's going to be love and marriage, Huntsville. Of course, we do have LeBerick and Destiny Williams as well, who you'll see more of this season as well on the show. So of course, I'm pregnant and I have my little pumpkin who's 6 months now. It's just going to be really, really good. It's going to be attention grabbing. But not only is it going to grab your attention, it's going to keep your attention. Carlos King does not play. Everybody who knows Carlos King as a producer, hey, he only produces the best. So
yes. He's been on my show before, so we've had a lot of conversations. But the storylines are increasing, more drama. So what does that mean for your life? Because now your life is for everyone to see. How has your life changed?
Well, I kind of just continue to still live my life the way I want to and do the things that I want to do. The biggest thing for me really is just my block game is amazing. I block people like crazy. So I'll clap back, then block you where you can't even respond. That's the biggest piece for me is just the internet trolls and the people who just, want to come to your page and be disrespectful. I don't care what you say on your page, but you ain't gonna come on my page and be disrespectful. So I just, I have to make sure that me and my team, my staff, we monitor that. and block people who are just down. I don't mean disagree, because you can disagree with me, but I'm
Right.
talking about downright just disrespect where you got to go.
Yeah.
But other than that, day-to-day type living, I just continue to do as I would normally do.
Gotcha. So what's next for you?
Oh, I have some great things. I really can't really speak on too much, but I do have some things down in the pipeline that I'm very thankful to God for. I mean, God is just so amazing. Yeah. He's so amazing. And he will show up and show out, as they used to say back in the day, a ram in the bush. A ram in the bush. And he has definitely shown me, Mel, I got you. And that has been something that has given me so much comfort, has given me so much peace and happiness and joy. And, you know, it feels amazing. It feels seeing and knowing all the things that are taking place behind closed doors that are waiting to be revealed. It feels amazing knowing that he, despite everything, he's got me.
Exactly. And it's, you know, it's a testament to his grace and mercy when you don't look like what you've been through.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, sometimes I think we have to, especially as women, we have to make sure that we're the person wanting to uplift each other versus the one who's wanting to see our sister depressed or sad or, you know, not happy. Like, who does that? Where does that come from? Especially when you don't even know them. You know, and that's kind of what gets me with the internet. So it's like, you don't even know me, but you're upset because I'm happy. I don't get that. But, you know, at the end of the day, you have to live your life every day to the fullest. You have to make sure that you're operating in his purpose. And when you're operating in his purpose, girl, it feels amazing.
Yes. It
feels amazing.
You know, Melody, I think that you are so phenomenal. And I just want to make sure that people stay connected, because I want to make sure that they sign up for your July masterclass. I want to make sure that they support your skincare line and whatever future endeavors that you have going on. How can my listeners and my viewers stay connected with you? Website, social media?
Absolutely. So I advertise a lot of my business things on my social media page anyway. So Melody S. Holt, Melody S. Holt. And that's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and now TikTok. So if you want to just come and laugh at some stuff, follow me on TikTok too. But and then of course, www.holtinholt.com. You can go to Embrace Beauty, MBRACEBEAUTY.net to enter your information for special discounts for the skincare line. And just, you know, like I said, I advertise a lot on my Melody S. Holt Instagram page. So if you're connected there, stay tuned, follow me there, and then you'll see a lot of the things that I'm working on.
Well, Melody, thank you so much for blessing my show and this space. I think that you are absolutely amazing and a boss. Okay.
Thank you.
I'll be tuned in. I'll be sitting down in front of my computer with my friends for the season premiere of Love and Marriage Huntsville on OWN, premiering on July 11th. Melody, you take care and have an amazing day.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So there you have it, everyone. Just another amazing conversation with Melody S. Holt, who is a television producer, and a cast member on OWN's Love and Marriage Huntsville. Like I said, I love speaking to amazing women because I think there's a space that needs to be created or enlarged for women of color who are doing amazing things for the community and the world at large. I'm always going to bring conversation and great guests to you. So make sure that you follow me on all of my Sonya On Air streaming platforms. Sonya On Air is streaming on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Buzzsprout. And you can also check out my website for upcoming and future guests at www.sonyaonair.com. And all of those streaming platforms I just mentioned, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Okay, and the notifications so that you can be alerted each and every time I bring you another amazing Sonya On Air edition. There you have it. I am so happy to bring you another engaging conversation, and make sure that you stay tuned in to Sonya On Air each and every single week, and make sure that you follow me on Instagram too. I'm found on Instagram on Sonya_on air. Thank you so much, dolls. Smooches.